half marathon training, and we are at another Sunday check-in along the awesome river path. I've got a river just over there and a stunning piece of trail along here. I still haven't decided yet whether to make the trail that I showed you last week Sunday or this trail that I'm on right now. Which one of these two to make the route for my self-directed half marathon over the same weekend as the Granada half marathon. You let me know in the comments down below which is the better option, last week's trail or this one right behind me. And just to let you know, the trail extends all the way off that way, and if I turn around, it extends all the way off in the opposite direction too. Anyway, we are now at the end of week 8. I've managed to completely shake off the chest cold and get back into a couple of solid run sessions. And by keeping up time on the spin bike during the course of my chest cold to keep the aerobic base level fitness rolling in spite of illness, I've managed to come out of this block of illness with no real loss of fitness, and that's evidenced by my first week really back to training this week, which is week number 8 of 13. And surprisingly, because Friday was a public holiday, Thursday became long run day, and I managed to tick off 14 kilometers from my long run, which puts me back exactly where I was in terms of distance before I got ill. However, my pre-illness 14 kilometers was done at a 7 minutes 50 more or less average pace. Post-illness 7 minutes 28 average pace. So for the same distance I'm actually quicker post-illness, which is not too shabby. Last week I was also really struggling with issues of gender dysphoria. Look at this awesome background. And my hormone treatment has swung me onto more or less a 28-day hormonal cycle. So the difference between last week and this week is this week I'm more or less solidly mid-cycle. Actually, I'm at around about, today I think is day 20 of my hormonal cycle, which is, from what I understand from hormonal cycles, and those of you out there who are more familiar with hormonal cycles can fill me in on the details and whether or not I'm completely off base, but my guesstimation is that around about days 15 to 21 everything just suddenly feels a lot more settled. which if I was somebody who ovulated day 15 to 21 would put me during the week post-ovulation and the week before the beginnings of PMS. So I'm just at that nice feeling balanced state of my cycle before the possibilities of things starting to go slightly wobbly again. Anyway, what can I tell you about my training week next week? Absolutely nothing right at the moment, simply because it's now it's now Sunday at 1:25, and after this relaxing river walk, which I might include about a 10-minute run along, and short interlude, I need to switch sides of the path here quickly and get beyond this tree, and you should see sheep. Anyway, this river walk that should include about a 10-minute run just to loosen up and kick in the movement of running again for the new week, and a long walk through the center of Grenada later on this afternoon will be wrapping up this week's training. And only once I plug that into the personality that I've created for my AI coach that I'm using, taking my knowledge and experience, plugging it into an AI personality so that I can get training plans back to me. Because if I have to rely on myself for setting up my training plan, it would have had me running 10 kilometers a day through the middle of a chest cold, which could have possibly extended that chest cold out to way longer and way more suffering. But I've managed to bounce back quite quickly, thanks to the AI coaching system that I'm using at the moment. Anyway, with that being said, I'll only properly know what my training plan is for the new week tomorrow morning when I get up, simply because after this morning's walk and this afternoon's walk, I'm needing to plug into the system feelings as far as hormones are concerned, the amount of sleep I managed to get, and because of where I am in my hormone therapy, specifically any chest tenderness that I may be feeling in the morning, because sometimes what I'm feeling one morning to what I'm feeling the next morning can be vastly different. So I can't tell you what's coming up next, but just that I'm back to running again, and I've managed to knock off a 14-kilometer long run, which puts me only 7 kilometers from half marathon, and I managed to finish off that half run, that 14-kilometer run, with a feeling that I could have easily continued for another half an hour afterwards, which at a 7:28 pace, looking at adding on another 4 kilometers. So which means that 14-kilometer long run in the books and 18 kilometers is distinctly possible. But we'll have to wait and see what actually becomes possible during the course of this coming week, based on how many gym clients I have, what times my gym clients are, and what time of day will be available to go for a run. But speaking of run, that said, this is already a 10-minute video. I think it's round about time to sign off and do my 10-minute Sunday run. Speak to you all again next week Sunday, when we'll be at the end of week 9 of training, which will be the weekend just before the beginning of Semana Santa here in Spain, which again will be affecting time available to train as well, simply because with Semana Santa I won't be able to work in the gym for next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which certainly means that I'll need to fit all my gym clients into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, with therapy on the Tuesday as well. And interestingly enough, my next therapy session due on the 31st just happens to put me the day before the beginning of my next cycle, so which means therapy next time round will be right at the very peak of PMS, which will hopefully help me to navigate that emotional minefield. But with that said, time to run. Speak to you next week Sunday at the end of week number 9. Till then, stay hydrated, keep moving, and let me know what you're doing as far as your fitness journey is in the comment section down below. Till then, speak to you soon. Bye.